It's easy to get overwhelmed with swing thoughts and tips when you're practicing your game. So I'm at the Wisley Golf Club to meet world-renowned golf coach Hugh Marr to see if we can break this whole thing down, make it a whole lot simpler and ensure we're getting the fundamental things absolutely right. Hugh, sometimes when there's a lot of green to work with and no hazards in the way, a low running chip shot can be a really good option, also good under pressure. What's your advice for executing one of these well?
Well, I think to be good at any chip shot, you have to master some basic fundamentals.
Okay.
So the foundation chip shot that I talk about a lot, where you're setting up the natural loft of the club in a very specific fashion, is key. Master that first of all, and then it really is as simple as putting a different club in your hand, adopting the same setup to get a different outcome.
Good, I like the simplicity of that. So we have to get back in that good setup. Let me run through it and you tell me if I'm right. We've got our feet nice and narrow.
Yep.
We've got our sternum over the front edge of the ball.
Yep, by front edge we mean the target side of the ball.
That's right.
Yep.
We've got weight favouring on that left leg and the hands are slightly forward of the club head.
Yep. The only bit you've missed there is making sure that you stand neutral to your start line.
Okay, so
you're aiming square to where you want the ball to land.
Got you. Okay, so once we've got that setup nailed, we've obviously selected a club, and in this scenario, a 9-iron, because it's less loft and therefore it will release more.
Correct.
And I just pull the trigger.
You're going to have to put a smaller swing on it.
Okay.
Because it's a straighter face club.
Right.
And pull the trigger exactly the way you would normally. Looking for that neutral swing line, approaching impact from the inside, leaving from the inside. And in this instance, don't be afraid to let the toe rotate a little bit through impact to help guarantee roll.
Okay, that sounds, in theory, very simple. Let's give this a little shot, shall we? I'm happy with the strike, but it came off a bit fiery. Got the 9-iron in the hand. How can I try and get it a bit softer off the face?
Two options. Preferred option would be to change club, so go to pitching wedge.
Okay.
A little bit more loft. But you could also just select a slightly shorter landing spot. That one flew quite a long way onto the green.
It did, yeah.
The other comment I'd make is when playing a running shot, it's really important to ensure that neutral line of swing. So again, the club approaching impact slightly from the inside and leaving slightly from the inside. Don't be afraid to let the toe rotate through impact to keep the ball rolling.
Okay, so the landing spot, I'm going to bring it slightly closer to the edge of the green.
Well, you've hit that first one probably 12 feet past.
Yeah.
So let's go 12 feet short with landing spot and see where it goes.
Okay, let's give that another go. It's much better on the landing spot.
And you can see because of that neutral line of swing and allowing the toe to rotate a little bit, that kept rolling out. It didn't grab up on the green at any time. And
it's a pretty good one. So I think, you know, we've mentioned this landing spot. It's quite an important factor because a lot of people probably just focus on where the ball's going to finish rather than where they actually want the ball to start.
Well, basically landing spot is where the player selects a particular area in the green to land it relative to the shot he or she is trying to make. So here we're trying to play a running shot, our landing spot will be a lot closer to us. When we're trying to fly it, it'll be a lot further away.
Right.
The reason that I stress the foundation shot so much is that if you hit the same shot time and time again, you then know how far the ball runs relative to its flight.
Okay.
Which then makes it much easier to select where you're going to land it.
So again, it comes back to this club selection being very important. We get the setup nailed, we pick the landing spot, and theoretically, it's in the hole.
And theoretically. And I think for most golfers, becoming expert with 1 or 2 or 3 clubs is much preferable to messing around with more than that.
Right.
Become really good with one club first of all.
The 52.
The 52. Then start to add in a 9-iron, and then we'll go to lob wedge as well.
Right.
Once you've mastered those 3, we can then start to explore even more options. But those 3 will pretty much suit any situation you're faced with in the course.
And would you recommend a low running chip shot over a higher chip shot a lot of the time?
My preference is to play without spin. Primarily because spin is difficult to control and predict.
Yeah.
So becoming a good spin chipper is way down the line.
Okay.
and is the product of becoming what I call a loft chipper, someone who uses the loft to control ball behaviour rather than spin.
Right.
Nail that, then you can start to add spin rates in.
Okay.
And nailing that is, again, foundation shot. The ball will release in its natural fashion without an excess of roll or an excess of spin.
Okay, well, there we have it from one of the best coaches in the world. You've got to be able to get the ball running on the green before you can spin it. So there's something to work on for all of us.